The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, is recognized as a world leader in public health research, practice, and response. CDC has talented and dedicated professionals that aspire for excellence as they work for and with the general public. For example, Kennedy is an epidemiologist at the CDC. Her job involves research where she gathers relevant public health information and data through epidemiological studies, assessments, and collaboration with others. Her work informs investigations that will address public health problems. Josh's role at CDC is very different from Kennedy's. In his grants management position, Josh routinely requests information from the public. The information is usually captured using grant application forms, written report forms, and electronic data collections. He also participates in post-award monitoring, where he conducts site visits to evaluate grantee fiscal performance. Then there's Wendy, an award-winning environmental protection specialist. Her work conducting public health assessment evaluations on children has helped to fine-tune federal, state, and local data gathering efforts and environmental health interventions. Kennedy's, Josh's, and Wendy's jobs all involve the collection of information from the public. They're good at what they do because they're very familiar with the Paperwork Reduction Act and its requirements. They use a team approach when developing their collection methods. For example, when their work requires the application of scientific methods, they always collaborate with subject matter experts, such as engineers, epidemiologists, demographers, economists, survey statisticians, and other scientists. And when their information collection activities involve sampling, research methods, or heavy statistics, they always consult with their in-house statistician and research methodologist before submitting an information collection request for approval. In addition, they check with their Information Systems Security Officer and CDC's Chief Privacy Officer about any potential system security and privacy concerns. They also have great working relationships with their CIO's Paperwork Reduction Act contact. The Paperwork Reduction Act, or PRA, is the law that requires federal agencies to seek public comment on proposed information collections and to obtain approval from the Office of Management and Budget before collecting information from the public. PRA clearance is the term used for the process of obtaining review and approval from the Office of Management and Budget for federally conducted and sponsored data collections, as required by the Paperwork Reduction Act. When is clearance required for collecting data? The Paperwork Reduction Act applies to collecting information using standardized questions posed to, or reporting, disclosure, or record-keeping requirements imposed on 10 or more respondents within a 12-month period. A respondent includes individuals, partnerships, associations, corporations, business trusts, legal representatives, organized groups of individuals, and state, territory, tribal, or local governments. Essentially, a respondent is any non-federal entity. Unless exempted or waived, all CDC collections of information are subject to Paperwork Reduction Act clearance, regardless of collection technique or whether the collections are mandatory or voluntary. Most federal employees don't have a good working understanding of the Paperwork Reduction Act and its mandated requirements. Even for those who know about the law, it's often misunderstood. Many react negatively to it because they think it's too complex to implement. They believe the information collection request approval process is too time-consuming, or they feel that the requirements get in the way of their work, thus leading to resentment of the law, its requirements, and the federal staff charged with ensuring compliance with the law. It's not a terrifying or complicated process. If information collection projects are appropriately planned, the clearance process shouldn't interfere with your job. Once you start working with it, the process becomes relatively routine. If your work involves collecting data from the public for any reason, always consult with your PRA contact early in your project's planning. When developing your information collection request for the Office of Management and Budget's approval, also refer to the agency's Information Collection Request Procedures Manual. CDC, implementing a system of transparency, public participation, and collaboration.